Can't believe Tom King had the guts to release 2 books this week. Anyway, welcome back to another episode of Last Week in Comics, where I recap the last week in comics. And today, or this week, more like it, was the Battle of the Wonder Womans, Tom King versus Kelly Thompson's Absolute Wonder Woman. And my God, did Kelly Thompson smoke that man? And I don't even think she was trying. Because both Tom King's Wonder Woman and Absolute Wonder Woman released this week, and as you've known, if you've been keeping up with my TikTok content or my YouTube content, or you've been watching Last Week in Comics, I have been an avid reader of Kelly Thompson's Absolute Wonder Woman. I'm an avid reader of pretty much anything Kelly Thompson puts out. They need to put her on more strong female characters. She should be on the mainline Wonder Woman book. I actually read both Tom King's Wonder Woman and Kelly Thompson's Absolute Wonder Woman, just because I wanted to see how stark of a difference there was between the two. I have been loosely reading Tom King's Wonder Woman. I do not support the man. I may have accidentally bought a couple Tom King Wonder Woman issues because they have good variants, but that's just because I'm a sucker for good variants. I did not read that book. I didn't even know that I was buying that book. So I've been kind of loosely keeping up with it, mostly for the show, partially for the show, mostly just because of sheer morbid curiosity on what the fuck Trinity's doing. But there's just such a huge difference, and it is a disservice to Kelly Thompson to compare her work to Tom King, because she is leagues above that man to a point where, like, Tom King's not even gonna hit that at any point in his career. And he's been here longer than Kelly Thompson has. Basic review of Absolute Wonder Woman. So we got the introduction of Absolute Etta Candy, who is a former detective, now turned private investigator. And you know what being a detective means in DC Comics. That bitch is gay. But to be honest, you could just tell that from the way that she's looking at Diana. Anyway, so we also get introduced to Etta's sister Gia, who is what Trevor describes as a witch, which it's very nice just to have Wonder Woman more based in the whole, like, magic side, because she is a magic character. You know, the Amazons do rely partially on magic. So it's great to see that highlighted in a book that also does a phenomenal job at just everything concerning Diana. So, you know, they're going there, so that Wonder Woman can regrow her, or use magic to put her arm back so she can go face the giant monster that's been attacking the city. I don't know, it's just nice that a comic book not only remembered Etta Candy, but decided to put her in. I know that she has been in a couple of mainline Wonder Woman runs, but she's been lacking for the past couple of years, which is absolutely insane to me. She's one of my favorite, like, side characters of all time. It's just really nice that a Wonder Woman book is highlighting mostly her female friendships, or her female relationships even, you know. Because we also see Cersei talking to Hecate. I'm waiting for Zach to correct my pronunciation.
Hecate.
I did it good this time? Okay. But we also see Cersei talking to, essentially she's talking and praying about, you know, having to deal with what Diana is to become, you know, how she's supposed to be the strong warrior, and she's not sure how she can continue to protect her as she grows into, you know, Wonder Woman. And we also get the backstory of Wonder Woman's new lasso, which was actually made by Cersei. And it's so great that, like, a Wonder Woman book is focused on women. I cannot stress this enough. This is how much of a pit we've been in terms of Wonder Woman. And I really do hope that we get to see more of Etta in the future. It seems that it's going that way. Absolute Wonder Woman is doing, like, insane numbers. I think it was top 5 last month. Only as low as it is because of misogyny and sexism. Like, I think that Absolute Wonder Woman's the best one to come out of the Absolute universe, but because it is a woman-led book, a lot of people aren't tuning into it. And I think that's disappointing. I think it's easily the best book at the Absolute Universe. I think more people should read it. It's great. It's at its core, it's what Wonder Woman is. Even though she is in this alternate timeline where she doesn't have the Amazons, she doesn't have Hippolyta, she is cut out of Themyscira, even then, she still remains true to who she is. And I think that's just spectacular. And then at the very end of the book, we actually got a preview of possibly one of the main villains of Absolute Wonder Woman, Veronica Cale. I didn't know this character at first. One of my mutuals has actually sent me a reading list because a couple people described her as Wonder Woman's Lex Luthor, and I think that's disingenuous to Wonder Woman. But essentially, she's kind of this ally / sometimes foe of Diana, who is going to probably end up stirring trouble for her in the Absolute Universe, which I think is very interesting. I like that a Wonder Woman book isn't afraid to be a Wonder Woman book. I almost fucking forgot. So how Diana defeats this giant monster is she uses magic to make her already huge, cloud sword. She uses it to make it even bigger, like huge, and just starts swinging at this monster. And it's some of the greatest paneling. I love Jordi Belair's colors. Jordi Belair also did the Birds of Prey book. She has a couple other ones under Marvel too that I really enjoy. She's one of the best colorists in the industry. And just looking at everything that she's put into Absolute Wonder Woman is insane. Because I will say Absolute Wonder Woman has a lot of gray space. The city's kind of gray, the monster's kind of gray. But yet everything still pops how it's supposed to. And I would almost say that kind of how muddy the city is makes Diana pop even more as an outsider, and it's just such a smart stylistic choice, especially with the art style that Diana looks so pretty in it. It's wonderful. I love this book with every fiber of my being. I wish that mainline Wonder Woman could be like this. The hydrogen bomb that is Absolute Wonder Woman, there of course has to be a coughing baby. And that's Tom King's Wonder Woman. I know I put it in the thumbnail because I made the thumbnail before I even filmed this because I had such a good idea for it. Please praise the thumbnail. I worked so hard. Squid worked so hard on it. I came up with the idea and then I sent it to Squid and Squid upped it. But I digress. I don't know why. This entire issue was about fucking Steve Trevor. You see the cover with all the Wonder Woman, the Wonder Girls essentially with Diana. Yeah, they don't talk to Diana. They're just there to do a cool action sequence and quip off little catchy one-liners that Tom King thinks is good. And it's not. It's shitty. It's the worst fucking thing I've ever read in my life. And Diana just keeps on going on and on about Steve to fucking Lizzie, Trinity, whatever the fuck her name is. Fake Damien. Fake John Kent. Tom King wants to be fucking... Oh, I forget. Tom King wants to be Grant Morrison so bad. He wants to be Grant Morrison, and he wants to be whoever the fuck came up with John Kent. He wants to be them so bad because he is so desperate for some sort of legacy at DC. And because he's so desperate for it, a lot of his work is suffering. He could have, gone off into obscurity and just been that one writer that, fans of a character hate when he's on their book, but, non-fans of the character really like it. He could have just died off as that. But no, he wants to ruin everyone's favorite. So the reason I actually read Tom King's Wonder Woman wasn't necessarily because I was going to do this comparison. It was because this one panel was floating around on Twitter where Diana has carved out a marble statue of Steve Trevor, and he is specifically in his army uniform, and Diana is holding Lizzie, a blonde-haired, blue-eyes baby. And people rightfully called it out for the white nationalist wet dream that it was. Because A, Steve Trevor's in his army uniform, If you read Wonder Woman comics, like actually read them, not just pretend to read them like you have, Thomas, you would know Steve very rarely dresses in uniform anymore. Like, Absolute Wonder Woman, of course, has him in uniform, but that is because he is actively a part of the military and Diana is talking to him through the military. Like, the military is actually involved. But they're also shown to be incompetent D-bags, so it's okay. In Absolute Wonder Woman, Diana is only teaming up with the military to save people. That is her number one goal. She's not pro anything that they're doing. And also, like, this image is just, it stands for everything that Wonder Woman is against. First off, she's shorter than the fucking Marvel Steve, which, insane. Diana's like 7 feet tall. Why is Steve Trevor taller than her? Let Steve Trevor like tall women, okay? Let Steve Trevor have taste. Steve Trevor and Wyatt Wingfoot have one thing in common, and that's that they will fuck a tall woman. But, like, also with the imagery, I'm calling it to my head because it stuck out to me as something just so anti-feminist, anti-everything Wonder Woman has ever stood for, it's gross, and I hate it, because, you know, you have Diana in this white gown. Why is it white? No, like, actually, why is it white? I don't understand that. I'm a big person on color theory. Every single thing of Queen Hippolyta has always been purple. It also essentially is kind of Diana's color. Diana's color is red and blue. Mix that together, you get purple. That's why they always put Hippolyta in purple. And so to see her in this white dress, holding this baby, praising a man in his military service, doing like this warrior widow or like military widow type deal for some reason, it's just disgusting. I don't understand it because I remember I flipped through the last issue, and the last issue was also the exact same thing as this issue was, where like she's telling the story to fucking baby Lizzie, white supremacy baby. She's telling the story to her, and then while like the Wonder Girls are actually doing shit. It's weird. And how Tom King writes Yara in particular is weird. Like, he writes all of them weird, but like Yara's like extra racist too on top of everything. Anyway, I think I've talked way too much about this. Fuck Tom King. His Wonder Woman doesn't even have a big sword. The last book that I actually read this week and didn't just hear about online, Justice League Unlimited #3. My opinion still stands correct about this Justice League book. It is too much going on for 22 pages. Like, for some reason, so you have this you only have 22 pages, and fucking, like, everyone possible was in this book. Justice League Unlimited can be split up right now into an A plot and a B plot. So the A plot was about Airwave, aka Hal Jordan's former cousin. He is now retconned to no longer be his cousin, helping out the Justice League despite being a spy for him. And I think his entire arc for this run is going to be he slowly learns how to be a hero, and he, you know, eventually stops working for the bad guys. And, you know, I like Mark Waid. He does kind of fall on tropes sometimes, especially with characters that he hasn't, like, really written. But, so, you know, you have that as the A plot, and essentially it all ends. And it's just a bunch of action sequences. I would go more into it, but, like, honestly, it's just a bunch of fighting. Like, a bunch of cool pages from Dan Mora. Dan Mora's great. I think he does a really good action sequence. But, again, we have 22 pages. We gotta keep pace. And eventually, Airwave helps Aquaman get to Swamp Thing's place because, the main villain that they have been trying to fight and save people from has decided to destroy the Green, which is, if you don't know what the Green is, it's what gives Swamp Thing and Poison Ivy their kind of powers against plants. You know, Swamp Thing is currently the protector of the Green, so they fucking explode Swamp Thing. They just go, fireball! And then and, like, Aquaman's just standing there useless. Like, call a fucking dolphin or something. What's the dolphin gonna do? The dolphin's gonna shoot water at him.
Why doesn't Aquaman do that?
Aquaman doesn't control water, he controls fish. Anyway, so Swamp Thing's fucking dead. I know when I posted my video on TikTok, a lot of people were like, I hope that means that Poison Ivy's going to be involved in this book somehow. To be honest, I don't think that they have room for Poison Ivy. However, I do want to see what G. Willow Wilson is going to do in response to this. Because she has been the one writing for Swamp Thing for a little bit in Poison Ivy. And so I would assume that the two offices are communicating with each other enough that, you know, she's going to either have Poison Ivy become the new protector of the Green, or, you know, the Green is now becoming more damaged and Poison Ivy's becoming more desperate and she's resorting to cannibalism again. I kind of lost track of what was going on in Poison Ivy. It's been going on for a while. Like, before I started doing comic book reviews. I gotta jump back on the horse, but the horse just keeps going. Okay, and then the B plot is actually just a, like, continuation of the Atom Project, which is weird because, again, the Atom Project is their own book, but I guess they wanted to kind of have a little bit of an explanation for people who aren't reading the Atom Project but are reading Justice League Unlimited as to how the kind of power swapping is going to be fixed. And honestly, Dan Mora is an underrated horror artist because, the Atom Project's B-plot is essentially they are going to go and swap back Phantom Girl and Plastic Man's powers because they swapped and now Plastic Man's like phasing through the floor. But like when they open the door to like Phantom Girl and you see her just like skin, like it's just a giant pile of skin. I love it. I love it when they take a stretchy character like that and they make just absolute body horror out of it. Dan Mora is just an underrated horror artist. I think that he should do more of this. But they swap back, so it seems that like from the Atom Project, they have finally like kind of stabilized their way of switching powers back and forth, which is a good thing for Fire and Ice and their new miniseries. But we're gonna talk about that at the end because that's how I format these. We talk about new solicits at the end. Overall, like Justice League Unlimited, yeah, it's a good book. I think that they put too much on Mark Waid's plate. I think that it would have been, I would have been willing to pay an extra $1 or $2 for them to up the page count. Maybe instead of giving the entire book to Mark Waid, they let some of these sides, they have like a backup story at the end. Like the backup story being the Atom Project that's leading more into what they're doing there instead of like having to rush everything through 22 pages. Because why is this book filled with like 500 fucking Justice League members, 22 fucking pages? It's a Justice League book. People will pay for it. More Mark Waid is sometimes the answer. Alright, first up in books I haven't read, but I hear about online, so I feel comfortable enough to talk about them, or at least let you know that they happened if they might interest you. First one on the list, Detective Comics 1093. The most notable thing that I saw come out of this was that Damian's finally brown again. Everybody rejoice! They haven't been making him brown in Batman and Robin, and it's been my number one complaint about the book, because if you don't make Damian brown, but you give him the long hair, he looks like Tim Drake, and I don't like it. I don't know, Batman fans seem to be happy with it. And what can I do to step in the way of happiness? I mean, to be fair, I have my own Batman book. I have Batgirl, so. Next on my list, Superman number 22. It seems that, like, just in general, we are ramping up to, like, the year of Superman. With Superman Legacy coming out, them doing a summer Superman special. There's a children's book releasing. So if you haven't checked out the current Superman run, you absolutely should. I've heard phenomenal things about it. It's a lot more grounded than you would typically think a Superman book would be, but I think that's one of its charms. It's focusing more on both Superman the persona and Clark Kent the person. Of course, they're still dealing with the whole Lois Lane situation and her, getting superpowers, and then also Jimmy Olsen's still dating that supervillain. Maybe I should be reading Superman. Overall, it's a great book, and I'm glad that Superman has an ongoing. I'm glad that Superman has an ongoing from this creative team specifically, because I think that they're all excellent. Why can't I remember their names off the top of my head? Because I'm bad with names. I only remember maybe 10 comic book writers, and there's way more than 10 comic book writers. Unfortunately, another Tom King book did release this week, Black Canary, Best of the Best. Honestly, I think that Tom King kind of shot himself in the foot this week, because I do think that his books in general, or at least the current ones that he has out right now, are specifically made in the hopes that they get enough hate that people will read it. But because Wonder Woman got pushed back a week, that meant it came out the same week as Black Canary instead of Jenny Sparks, which I think Jenny Sparks, he's legitimately just writing to talk about post 9/11 shit, because he can't write anything that he himself has not personally experienced. As another criticism of his Wonder Woman book, but we gotta keep moving. Yeah, no, and Black Canary is also kind of emblematic of that fact, because the only reason that he's writing this book is because he watched some pro wrestling or MMA fighting and wanted to just write about that. In general, is the problem with Tom King. He cannot write for shit. He cannot write other people's experiences. That's why it sucks when he's being put on a women book, because he's just doing the generic Hickman, like, girl boss moments. And I'm calling them Hickman specifically because fuck Hickman, that's all he writes his women to be, and I hate pretending that it's not. Jonathan Hickman's #1 hater, and it's so funny because I'm a Fantastic Four fan, for fuck's sake. But anyway, I did not hear anything about Black Canary Best of the Best. Of course, it's still dealing with fucking, we're gonna kill Dinah Drake again. Because apparently Tom King just forgets that people are dead sometimes in his books and just puts them back in. It's not good. That's all I gotta say. Okay, next up on my list, Catwoman #72. The only things I hear about this book are from Daystar specifically, and I think that it's going well. It like, out of the Gotham City Sirens, I don't think that Catwoman... I think now, finally, Catwoman has the weakest book, because I do think that Harley Quinn has... No, it's flipped. It's flipped. Harley Quinn has the weakest. But, like, even then, that's not saying much, because, again, G. Willow Wilson's Poison Ivy just has been hitting it out of the park every 5 seconds. We also got another DC Horror Presents issue 4, and I kind of looked this up. For some reason, Patton Oswalt's on this, and I thought that was a very famous actor. So that's kind of crazy. But the two tales in this one are Catwoman and Matter Eater Lad. Oh my god. So I'm actually probably going to have to read this one later because I started looking at it. Matter Eater Lad's story is just stylistically very interesting because essentially they have it take on like the old, I would say like the 40s, 50s style Superman. I think it's most notably a style that's tied to Shazam still to this day. But, you know, it's in that, like, old comic booky style, and it's, like, this horror story of him just eating everything. There's blood and guts everywhere, and I think that's great. I love that kind of stuff. It's, like, the only horror I kind of like because, like, they still keep, like, the bright atmosphere. Like, I don't like creepy images, so to keep this but still have, like, that kind of horror aspect of, like, blood and guts everywhere, it's made for me specifically. Next up on my list, Green Arrow #20. I am so glad that my friend Ollie got exactly what he wanted and got a 20-issue long Green Arrow run that was originally supposed to only be 8 issues, or 6 issues actually. I wish that fate on more comic book characters, specifically Batgirl. Give Cassandra Cain 50 issues again.
We need to make more of these.
It's a great success story. I don't like it because I don't like Oliver Queen. I like his children and his half-sister. So I haven't really been enjoying it because it's still about Ollie mostly. Maybe I should start reading Teen Titans for Roy, but really I want Connor, so where the fuck is he? Next on my list is Harley Quinn 47. Now, I did actually hear quite a bit about this book, mostly from Daystar, resident Harley Quinn fan, resident Batman fan, resident lesbian. No, she's not the resident lesbian. I'm a lesbian.
You haven't returned anyone.
You are gay!
What?
Oh, Harley Quinn. So, the way that this Harley Quinn book was described to me was that someone really wanted to write Deadpool. I really do hate the Deadpoolization of Harley Quinn. Deadpoolification of Harley Quinn. Because, like, that's just fundamentally not who she is. Like, they kind of took out some of that more, like, manipulative master stuff, or manipulation master stuff that Harley Quinn used to have and gave it to Punchline, and I think that was just a huge disservice to her character. As much as I love Birds of Prey 2020, the movie, kind of don't like that. That kind of... It's weird. I have a love-hate relationship with that film. But, you know, it's fun. I think Harley Quinn fans are still enjoying it, or at least just enjoying the art. I do think that the art style is, like, really fitting for her. Next up, Metamorpho the Element Man. This is not one of those books I wish would get past a 6 issue mini. Because honestly, I know that this book only exists because of the Superman movie, and I'll read it when it goes to trade, but, like, I'm just not interested as with Elemental Man as, like, a character. Elemental Woman, on the other hand. Now that's a woman. Next on the list is Power Girl number 17. Jesus Christ. But I don't read it because Leah Williams is on the book. I don't like how she's writing Karen. I just don't like her writing style in general. But the big notable thing is that they did give Power Girl a new suit. And it's Gooner bait. It's Gooner bait. I think that their sales were dropping because, you know, Power Girl fans who like Karen have been dropping the book because of Leah Williams, but they're still doing really well with variant covers because there's a lot of Gooners out there. Myself included. But, like, I don't like this suit. I don't like unnecessary swimsuit costumes. I think that the white pantsuit that they gave Power Girl with, like, the sleeveless, like, I think that's best. Like, in my opinion, if you're going to do it, you either have to have bikini bottom long sleeves or you have to have pants long sleeves. You can't do short sleeves and bikini bottom because that just makes it's too much. It's too much. To be honest, I would have preferred if they kept the no sleeves pants and maybe... I don't know, I like the jacket. I just think that less of the other Super Family members should have the jacket. It should be a thing that's exclusive to Karen and maybe Khan, and that's about it. I think that Kara doesn't need it. Kara especially just doesn't need something that ties her closer to Karen. They are two separate characters, despite what Leah Williams thinks. Superman of China, I don't think that he should have the jacket. I think that his suit should look the closest to Superman. And overall, I just think that John Kent needs a new suit. I think he's getting one in Secret 6. I think that that's great. Don't give him a fucking jacket again. But overall, like I would have kept the jacket. I maybe would have done more of a cape. Maybe brought back the cape. I just don't like this new suit. I don't like the thigh highs. I don't like the gloves. I think it's too much blue for a Power Girl suit. Like, the nice thing about Karen's original suit is that it was mostly white, which kind of helped distance herself from the Super Family, but now it's, like, mostly blue. It's just... It hurts me personally. The Flash, issue 17 also came out. I don't think Avery's even caught up on Flash comics, so I really don't hear anything about this book. I hear more about Absolute Flash, and he isn't even here yet. I think that they were doing some deep shit with Barry, though. The last two books are both Batman books. I have to hold my phone up to get this title right, because it's so fucking long. Batman Gargoyle of Gotham Noir Edition, number 3. It's Batman. I don't read Batman. And then more importantly for me, because I enjoy comics for children. I think that it's great. I think it's a great way of getting kids into comics. Tiny Titans is how I got into comics. But there is another issue of Lil Batman in month 1. I enjoy Lil Damien from this series. I love him so much. He's such, like, a goofball. He's... Like, this writer understands Damien at a fundamental level that, like, most other writers just don't. I hope that Lil Batman continues on forever. I need this to be the new Tiny Titans. I need them to have, like, 50-plus issues. 50-plus issues, a bunch of digest comics that are showing up in grocery stores. Pull out the works for Little Batman. And then just highlighting a couple indie books that came out this week from Image. G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. I've been hearing... overall... G.I. Joe's always been a fantastic book. It's what got my dad into comics and by extension got me into comics. I do know that they're also doing a silent issue pretty soon that I have to pre-order and get for my dad, because if you know the infamous issue 21 of G.I. Joe, aka the silent issue featuring Snake Eyes, it was my dad's favorite. It's what got him into comics. I actually got him a poster signed by Larry Hama when he went to Cincinnati Comic-Con of the cover of issue 21. It's really funny because Larry Hama kind of looks like my dad. Yeah, because when I met him, he took a photo. He took a photo of him with the signed poster, because he was like, "This is better than CGC grading," and I'm like, fucking funniest motherfucker. I'm so glad I waited for him instead of fucking standing in the Chris Claremont line. From Ahoy Comics, we have the Toxic Avenger. I didn't know that they were still making Toxic Avenger comics. I do know that. No, I did, because Squid's reading it. I've heard good things about the Toxic Avenger. So Archie Comics is doing like an Archie as Mr. Justice thing where they're doing Archie as a superhero. I saw it at my local comic book shop last time I went. I like fun concepts like that. I think we need more Archie comics. I stopped seeing them at like grocery stores. It's crazy out there now. The economy is in shambles.
The economy is in shambles.
Oh yeah, so Dynamite Comics. They are still releasing Space Ghost. Now, here's the thing. I only know Space Ghost from Space Ghost Coast to Coast, which has nothing to do with Space Ghost. Well, it kind of has something to do with Space Ghost, but it's not the Space Ghost comics. You know, it's like Harvey Birdman. You know what I mean. It's Adult Swim. I'm just glad that they're still releasing Space Ghost comics. I'm always glad that people are releasing more comics. Oh, and then from IDW, so I'm just going to go through a quick list of what IDW published. So, obviously, Star Trek comics are still releasing Not Lower Decks this week, but another Ryan North book did come out, and I'm not allowed to talk about it until Marvel removes Sabra from Captain America 4. Then we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Night Watcher and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles X Naruto, which I think is just a fun crossover. I think we need more crossover comics between comics and manga. I think it's fun. But in something that I have been keeping track of, Godzilla Monster Piece Theater. So I just looked at the cover of Godzilla Monster Piece Theater. Personally, I was going to wait till I went home to read all of these because I am buying them actively. But it's him versus, like, all the, like, horror monsters. So you got, like, Frankenstein there, and you got, like, Dracula, and you got the Mummy, and you got the Wolfman. What are they going to do against Godzilla? Godzilla's like 10 times the size of him. I think it's fun to just take public domain characters and put them in your comics. If the Phantom is in the public domain now, you should put him in a comic. You should put him in more comics. Put the Phantom and stuff. So that's it for current releases this week. Now we're going to move on to news, and there has been quite a bit from DC at least. Of course, last week we went over the Superman special. Okay, so they're doing another Power Company one-shot for Black History Month. And you'll know this as DC trying to do milestone comics with their own characters, except they only release it for the month of February, and that's it. We never see them getting on a mini. Like, they don't even get a mini. They get one special. And I think it's a disservice because I think that I just want to see Duke Thomas and more things. Where is he? Where has he been? Why is Wayne Family Adventures the only thing publishing him? Oh wait, this is coming out in April. Why? What? I guess they'll let them exist outside of February. We also have Resurrection Man by Ram V, which I just found interesting because I think that it looks like a cool horror comic. It's not for me, but it might be for someone. We're also getting for free Comic Book Day a DC all-in / Absolute Universe kind of like crossover tie-in book. And I think it's kind of going to bring the whole like what we're doing here together, because I also forgot that in New Gods last week, Maxwell Lord showed back up. I don't know how I just like skipped over that mentally, but he showed up with like the like Omega symbol on his head. for Darkseid, and that's like the really huge thing of this event. In personally my favorite news, Fire and Ice are getting a new mini-series. Yeah! So, essentially this seems to be kind of dealing with the fact that Fire and Ice's powers are still swapped. It has been described by the author as a sequel to Welcome to Smallville. So after the events of All In, Fire and Ice have gone back to Smallville, not be public nuisances anymore, and during a karaoke night, Fire steals a magical artifact from Zatanna, and her and Tora have now switched bodies. Which means that they are with their original power set, but they also release this cool image of, like, Bee and Tora, but, like, you know, it's Tora and Bee's body, so she's dressing like how Tora normally dresses, big sweaters, you know how Tora is, versus like Bee in Tora's body has like basically an ice version of her regular costume, and I think that's so interesting. I also think that this is an image of me and Stack. I don't know, I'm just really excited for more female-led books at DC. I'm excited for more JLI members getting the spotlight. I'm excited for Bee and Tora to just be in anything. I know that a lot of people, a lot of the Bee and Tora fans were like kind of hesitant about this after Welcome to Smallville.
Personally,
I don't
like
care.
Smallville.
I don't care. I thought Smallville was a fun comic. Sometimes comics can just be fun and not like an in-depth character analysis, and I'm fine with that. Also, to be honest, it's also just another opportunity for Booster Gold to be brought back, because where is he?
No, it's not about him.
No, I know, but where is he?
I don't care.
Where is he? You don't care now? You don't... Oh.
I don't care about Booster Gold when women are around.
I need you to know, just in case, like, Stack does pick up on the audio. Stack is currently wearing a shirt that says Booster Who? The greatest hero you've never heard of. Anyway, that wraps up another episode of Last Week in Comics. If we hit 1,000 on the last video, I'm hoping we hit 1,000 again. It would be really nice if, like, these videos do well, so I can stop posting on TikTok and just devote myself to YouTube full time in terms of content creation. But whatever. Hold on. I have to, like, look at the thing still. So up here should be another video that you should watch. Maybe it's a Ash and Their Fantastic Friends. Maybe it's another Last Week in Comics. It's all up to you and what your preferences are on my form of content. Maybe it's a YouTube short. I don't even know if those pop up there. But that's going to be up there. Then down here, it's going to be the playlist for Last Week in Comics. So if you want to find out what happened November 2024, December 2024, and the rest of January 2025, it will be right there. I've been doing this show for a while now. And then over here, you can subscribe. Please subscribe. I want to hit 500. I want to hit 500 followers by the end of February. This is my goal for myself personally, because that means I'm one step closer to getting fully monetized on YouTube, which is going to mean a lot to me. It's going to be another source of income, which would be nice. I would like to have money, please. I would like to... Yeah, no. You guys should get me a 500 subscribers so I can have money and I can buy more comic books. And so I also have my Ko-fi, links down below. You can donate to it. If you want me to do a very specific thing or make a very specific video, give me like $10 and I'll do it. I'll do anything. I'll talk about anything. I should specify I'll talk about anything. Okay, we should probably just end it here. And did I say everything correct?
Yeah.
And cut.